Every company should have a record retention schedule. That record retention schedule lists how long we keep all of our documents. I'd mentioned before that all the hiring documents, all the resumes you receive, all the notes people take, doing all the interviews has to be kept for, last I heard, 2 years in Oregon. These are the kinds of things you as a bookkeeper need to know so that you can make sure that we're retaining the records that we need to and for how long. First of all, here's irs.gov. Their record retention, what they say is keep records for 3 years. So when they first do an audit, they can go back 3 years. If they find issues, they can go back another 2 years. And then they say keep records for 7 years if you're claiming certain bad debts. So that's an if, like keep it for 3 years, maybe another 2 years, so 5 years. But then they're like, but if you have this weird stuff, do it for 7. Keep records for 6 years if you don't report all the income you should. But the best one comes next, right here. The IRS does have a sense of humor. You might not know this, but you should now. Number 6 says keep records indefinitely if you file a fraudulent return. So if you're committing fraud, you're supposed to keep your records forever. It says keep employee tax records for at least 4 years, but this is the IRS. This isn't HR law. If we have any of the wage and hour lawsuits, we need to keep the employee records for a lot longer so that we have them available. One of the things they do talk about too with regard to record retention is follow your policy. If it says that you shred everything after 5 years, shred everything after 5 years, even if you have that one employee that you think's an issue or that one client that you think is an issue. You have to keep everything the same. Keeping things when they're supposed to be shredded. So here's where it gets interesting. If you have a record retention policy that says you get rid of everything at like 7 years, which isn't the correct procedure for the human resources HR stuff. But if you follow that policy, they'll look at that and they'll go, okay, well, at least you were following a written policy, right? At least you guys had a policy. And we know why you shredded these things because you had this policy, but the policy's wrong. But if you keep some things, and so you keep things for 7 years, but some things you keep forever and some things you keep for 15 years, that's when you're really going to get in trouble because they'll say, well, obviously you knew you did fraudulent or illegal activity. Otherwise, you wouldn't have kept all this stuff. Yikers. So the IRS has its thoughts on how long you should keep records. In an ideal world, you're working with an HR professional as well to find out how long they suggest keep records.